Hey there Facebook, it is Vanessa here again, your motivational speaker, trainer and head coach from Live, Love, Give. And today's message is all about talking into relationships, coming back to a favorite topic of mine and talking about how the loss of attraction in our relationships leads to the 4R's of the breakdown of communication. And the reason why I'm totally wanting to share this idea with you guys today is because I had an amazing coaching session with one of my beautiful clients this morning, and we were talking into this and noticing the patterns in our relationships in terms of where those breakdowns are stemming from. Because when we are aware of the patterns, when we can bring language to the patterns, we're empowered to break through and make the changes that we ultimately want. So really wanting to share this with you. And firstly, I wanted to start because these 4R's of the breakdown of communication that I want to share with you, it's kind of this cycle that we can get caught up in our intimate relationships in particular, because we get so triggered. And the reason why we enter this cycle, and which I'm going to share with you guys what the 4R's are and what that cycle and that breakdown of communication looks like, so that you can start recognizing the patterns in your own relationships. But the reason why we get into this cycle is because we lose the attraction. You know, so you guys, I've done some videos in the past, and I might link them up for you guys after today's session, all about masculine and feminine energies. And ultimately, these are the dynamics at play that create that attraction, that spark with our partners and with people in general. So, you know, it's that play. I'll just give you a little recap before we dive into the 4R's, because that's what I want to make this focus about. But ultimately, you know, there's masculine energy, there's feminine energy. Every single human being walking the face of the planet has both. But what comes more natural to us determines, you know, what we're more attracted to and how we're attractive to others. So just to give you a little quick breakdown, masculine energy is all about being a train on the tracks. It's driven, it's determined, it knows what it wants, it goes after it. It's clear, it's logical, it's rational, it's going for it, it's getting the goal accomplished. Whereas feminine energy is much more free-flowing, more attuned to emotion. It's kind of like an unpredictable storm, where the masculine is more like train on the track. So it could, you know, anything is liable to happen in that feminine energy. And so each and every one of us, we have, like I said, both masculine energies and feminine energies, but what comes more natural to us determines our attraction to others and who we're attracted to. So the masculine and the feminine are always going to be attracted to one another, hands down. No question, that's just how it is. And 80 to 90% of men tend to be more masculine in nature at their core, and 80 to 90% of women tend to be more feminine in nature at their core. So, you know, men can be more feminine, women can be more masculine, but generally speaking, you're going to find that men are more masculine and women are more feminine. So, hope I said that right. I don't know. But anyway, that's the dynamic at play. But what happens in our intimate relationship, you might have that crazy attraction to somebody when you first meet them and you're getting in relationship with them. But over time, if you're not conscious of what attracts you to one another, many of us, and oftentimes we can lose the attraction and we don't really know why, but we start kind of polarizing each other. So if you think about two magnets that are attracted to one another, that's the masculine and the feminine at play. Like they're really just attracted to one another. But if over time, if we start sort of shifting into different energies, so maybe the woman becomes more masculine in energy for whatever reason, that's a whole nother topic. Then, you know, it's two masculines, they repel each other. And the same thing happens when, say, the more masculine partner, say, is the man, and he goes into this more people-pleasing, sort of wishy-washy, emotional sort of state, and his partner's still in the feminine energy. energy, they just repel each other as well. So you may, as I'm talking about this, you may have had these experiences in your past, or currently you might be going through some of this right now, and you're kind of thinking, yeah, my masculine partner is kind of become kind of soft, and it's like not very attractive. Or you might be thinking, as the masculine partner, you might be saying, hey, my feminine partner, yeah, when we first met, she was so beautiful and feminine and free-flowing and spontaneous, and now she's just so tight, you know, and she's so, you know, so being in her masculine, you know, she's so just like trying to accomplish a goal, and she's lost that spontaneity and that thing that attracted me. And so what I want to say to you, if you are in that dynamic where you've lost that spark, lost that attraction, I would really encourage you to do the deep work on masculine and feminine energies. Sometimes it's just in the consciousness around what these energies are and being able to play with them at will that makes the difference, and you can reignite the spark. But that's a topic for a different conversation, because I really wanted to just share that little piece with you guys before, you know, I really wanted to share with you what the 4R's of the breakdown of communication are. And the reason why I've shared masculine and feminine energies and that attraction piece is because when we lose the attraction piece and we're unaware of what those dynamics are at play, so we're not actually making the shifts and the changes so that we can reignite that spark, we tend to lose communication. This is what triggers the breakdown in our communication. So let's dive into it. So the first R of this breakdown in communication, once we've lost attraction, we start feeling this resistance to our partner. So they might say or do something and we're kind of triggered by it. We're kind of resisting it, but you know, something bothers us about that, what they've done or how they're acting or whatever's happening. Because we've lost that attraction, we're kind of starting to get resistance towards the things that they're doing. And if you think about it, like when you have real attraction with somebody, it's really hard for them to piss you off. It's really hard for them to start irritating you. That irritation comes when we lose the attraction, and then we start noticing and pinpointing all those little resistances, and we're not communicating about them. We're letting them stack. And when we notice those resistances come up and we're like, oh, that was annoying, or that was really bothering me, but we don't communicate about it, we move to the next R. And the next R is resentment. We start feeling kind of resentful. You know, it's moved past those little annoyances, those little resentments, and now it's resentful. Now, like, you start kind of, you know, you're letting that sort of tension build up, and you're really starting to, like, it's that next level of resistance. It's like resentment, like, oh, does he have to do that again, or does she really have to do that? Like, we start getting resentful about how our partner is operating, and it's killing the attraction even more. And then what happens is, if we still don't break through and communicate at that second level with that, you know, at the resistance, then we get to the resentment, and we're still not communicating, we enter the realm of rejection. Now, this is where we start getting really harsh and abrasive with one another. You know, we start kind of building that toxicity in our relationship. We start, like, really, you know, just operating in a realm that's just, we're not proud of, but we seem like we can't help it, you know, and we get sort of like just abrasive, just abrupt to the other person, and we start entering that realm of rejection. Now, as we move through the 4R's, it continues to get harder and harder to break through and communicate. So that's why I'm sharing this with you, so in hope that you start noticing the patterns so you can break through sooner, instead of letting it get to the final R, which is when we get to repression. So we've moved past the resistance, we entered the resentment, we got into some rejection, and now in this repressive state, we've kind of lost our expectations for the relationship. We're kind of in a state of learned helplessness. It's where we kind of get numb emotionally, and we just close off to the idea that it could even be any better. And this is where we start going elsewhere for our needs to be met. This is where we start going to work because we feel more successful there. We start spending more time with the kids or with our friends because we just feel better there. Our needs are getting met there. We're not so annoyed or closed off. And ultimately, you know, these are the 4R's, and it's kind of this cycle. And the only thing that is going to allow you to break through is ultimately to restart the communication and work on your attraction, knowing that the breakdown of communication commences when we lose attraction with our partner. That's when those little resistances start to stack, and if we don't communicate about them, we enter resentment. We still don't communicate, we enter rejection, and eventually we get to repression, and it's really hard to come back from that point. I'm not saying you can't do it. I've done it myself, and I've definitely helped many couples come back from that place. But what I do want to, my reason for sharing all of this with you guys today is because, like I said, I had that beautiful coaching session with my beautiful client, and if she was so, you know, wanting to learn about this. She was, as I was explaining it to her, she was seeing the patterns. She was finally feeling more empowered because she could put language to what had been going on. Instead of that confusion and like, how did we get here? She could finally see, oh, so that trigger's there. And then I had the opportunity here to move into that, and another opportunity, and you start getting more empowered. So that's why I wanted to definitely share this with you guys today, in the hope that it will definitely help you bring more self-awareness to noticing the patterns so that you can come from an empowered place and break through so that you can create the extraordinary quality of relationship that each and every one of us deserves. So let me check in with you guys. I've been going off on my little rant today, but let me know in the comments below, could you identify yourself in any of these, any of the different positions of the 4R's, or maybe that loss of attraction? Do you guys want to learn more about masculine, feminine, really attraction? Do you want to learn more about communication, relationships? I love all this stuff. So you guys let me know what is interesting to you so that I can make sure that I'm continuing to add value to you guys. But Thomas, thanks for joining me, and Eric, I love having you back, and Denoma and Stevens back, and Hassani, I love it. And Peter, I'm grateful that this message is resonating with you. And Manu and Helen and Clarence and Julian and Judy and Fernando and Sabri and Daniel and Carlos and Jimmy and Romy. It's so nice to see you as well, and I'm enjoying these messages. And Belinda, love having you here. And Josh. And yes, Stephen, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus is a phenomenal book for you to read. It was actually, that book was the first one that I ever read when I really wanted to dive into the topic of relationships. And I highly recommend it. I know a lot of people get annoyed by it. I think it's a great book. I don't agree with necessarily absolutely everything in that book, which is kind of different for me because I tend to agree with practically everything, but yes, but I definitely love that you're sharing that here, Stephen. And Leroy's back, I love it. And Gianni and Tanisha and Andrew and Caden and Aaron, awesome guys. And Salim, glad to see you as well. And Peter, thank you for joining me. And thanks, Sassani. I've never considered any of this before, but it makes a lot of sense. Definitely. I just think that these are some of the most valuable tools in terms of, because let me just backtrack there. I really believe that, you know, each and every one of us, we're here to love fully and be loved fully. And that's why the topic of relationship dynamics is just so super important for our fulfillment. And if you haven't heard about these, the 4R's, or the breakdown of communication and what that cycle is and where it stems from, you know, the power of attraction is so vitally important for the health of our relationships. And I love that you are, you know, getting some value from this, Asani. I love that, and thanks for being here. And Prajad, thank you for joining me. And Sharon, yes, and yes. So struggling with this at the moment. 35 years of marriage. You would think I would know what I was doing by now. I love it, Sharon, and congratulations. 35 years of marriage. That is phenomenal. And I love that you are, you know, eating this up and getting some value from today's message. And you know, I think that, you know, time time is really great. It gives us a lot of opportunity to grow, but it depends what we do with that time as well, you know. And so learning about this stuff and really just diving into the topic of relationship is so beneficial for you as an individual, for your relationship, and for all areas of your growth. I really think that when we have extraordinary quality relationships, they are the launching pad for us to reach higher levels of our potential. And so really valuable topic, and I hope this has sparked for you, Sharon, to dive in even deeper. I love that. Thanks for being here. And Wayne and Chris and Tony and Wes, thanks for joining me. And Eric, the yin and yang. There is always a bit of yin and yang and a bit of yang in the yin. It's about balance in life. That's the way of life. Definitely, definitely. And also noticing that we want both sides. So oftentimes, and this is a whole nother topic, but I'm just going to share a little bit with you, but oftentimes we diminish the differences. So it's the differences that make for the attraction, and it's our similarities that make for a great friendship. But what happens is, in the beginning of relationship, we're so supercharged about our differences. They excite us, they attract us, they're so juicy. But then as we go through that relationship, we start hating the differences and trying to make the other person just like us. And that is what kills the polarity, the attraction between the masculine and the feminine. And that's why we get all of these relationship challenges, because we are trying to make the other person like us. And at the end of the day, if there's two of you, one of you isn't necessary. So we need to understand that we need, like you're saying, Eric, like that yin and that yang. You know, that is the beauty. That is what creates not only the attraction, but it creates the respect in relationships. When we can see that somebody else brings something more or different to the table than we do, that is what creates respect, and we really need that in relationships. But when we lose our minds and we, don't want them to be any different, and we want them to be like us, we no longer see what they bring to the table. We lose respect. We try and mold them into something they're not, so we lose the attraction, and ultimately we go on this downward spiral, and we're in so much confusion about what's going wrong, and we have best intentions, because ultimately all of us just want to love and be loved, and that's why this is such a valuable topic that I hope you guys are getting value from. Thanks so much for sharing there, Eric and Gerardo and Dennis. Awesome to have you guys. And Raim Shabahadwaj. Oh my gosh. Sorry if I butchered your name, but I love you. I love that you're here. And Alex is here, and Jan's here. Love it, guys. And Theek Shana, thanks for joining me. And Fernando, interesting topic. I've also described attraction the same way as two magnets, but it's more than this also. I need to listen. Awesome, Fernando. Yeah, the two magnets, that is such an easy way to sort of explain and talk into attraction, but you're so right. There's so much more at play, but it is a really good analogy to use in order to understand what's going on there. And I love that you're listening, and I hope that you've learned something, or this has been valuable for you today. Fernando, thanks for sharing. And Jan, absolutely love this broadcast today. So true, sharing this on my wall. Thank you so much, Jan. I love it so much when you guys share these messages. I hope that it reaches more people. So that's such a great gift that you guys give to me, and I appreciate you so, so much, Jan. Thank you so much. And Peter and Walter and Don and Sanket, awesome. Thanks for joining me. Glad this is resonating with you, Dennis. And same with you, Jan and Fernando. Caden, this is so true. I communicated through these levels, called them out as gracefully from how it made me feel as possible. Yeah, that's always so hard. And some people are on their way out of your life no matter what. Yep, even though I didn't want it to end, I'm in a much healthier place now. I believe being patient and forgiving of life and encouraging words from you has kept me from breaking down completely. Thank you for the ranting. I love it. I love that you love my ranting, Caden. And thank you so much for those kind words and for sharing your incredible experience here. I totally resonate. I've definitely had my fair share of those 4R's in my relationships in the past, and it's not always easy. It's actually really extraordinarily difficult to break through and communicate in whatever area you are in those the 4R's, but ultimately, you know, there is so much personal growth in being able to do so, and you really enhance your connection and relationship if you're able to be the leader and step up with courage and break through for the sake of the relationship. So I love that, and so much value in what you've said there, Caden. Definitely, sometimes, you know, we do end up being in much healthier positions outside of the relationships, despite how much we may have wanted them to last. So I love that you've had that experience and that you're doing the work on you, and I appreciate you so much, Caden. So thank you so much for sharing here. And Hassani, yes, I can definitely see myself in those patterns. I'd love to learn more about it. Awesome. And I love that you're here and you're learning. It's so great. And Spicy, thanks for joining me. And Brian, I love it. Thanks for being here. And yes, VJP from NJ, I love it. And Tan, thank you for being here. You're new. I love having you here. Thanks for joining. Hope you're finding value in today's message. And Robbie, my wife and I are going through this. She has left and wants to know how to repair our marriage. Awesome, Robbie. Well, yeah, the first step is always going to be self-awareness. And oftentimes we have a breakdown in our relationship with ourselves, and our relationship with another becomes a distraction. And we're trying so hard to set best intentions and want that to work. But sometimes we do need that space. Sometimes we do need that time to focus on the self so that we can get to a healthy enough and that we're in relationship with as well. Robbie, definitely, if you haven't already, I haven't spoken with you, please book in a 15-minute power session. Let me see how I can best support you, because I really honor you on that journey. And I'm a big believer that if two people really, they're willing to leave the past behind, they have accepted 100% of responsibility for where the relationship is, and they're determined to create a compelling future with one another, you can get through anything. So I love that, Robbie. I said I just want to honor you on your journey, wishing you all of the best. And if you do want some extra support, make sure you book in one of those free sessions with me. I'd love to see if I can help you. And Tan's from Thailand. I love it. I was living in Thailand for 5 months last year. So I know Koh Samui very well. So thanks for joining, Tan. And SP, you're working too hard. Oh, thanks, SP. No, I love what I do. I never feel like I'm working. I absolutely love getting to jump on here and see you guys and connect with you guys. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you. And Marcus, thanks for joining. And Kim's here. I love seeing you. And Sharon, I really need to book in the 15-minute power session. Definitely do it, Sharon. I'd love to connect with you and get to meet you, see how I could best support you. And Suresh, nice of you to join me. And Kaden, there's so much juicy goodness in this message. I love it. I love that you're finding value here. And Ila from Canada, thanks for joining. And Firoz and Saprit and Rian's back. I love it. And Eric, thanks, Vanessa. You're always helpful. Oh, thank you so much. I've got so much gratitude and appreciation for you too, Eric. Thanks for showing up again. And Jim and Tina and David, thanks for being here, guys. And love, Eric, that you're welcoming Tan. I'm really appreciating your interaction and your kindness with everybody here. So thanks for keeping that up, Eric. You always warm my heart when I see that. And Hassani, I think part of what's exciting about the beginning of a relationship for men, well, speaking for myself, is being in the mode of discovery. Yes, I'm a curious person at heart, and I love learning and discovering new things. But what do you do to keep yourself from becoming too familiar? Or should that even be a goal? Am I looking at this correctly? Awesome question, Hassani. And I love, as always, that you are sharing your experience here. I definitely think that a big challenge that we fall into, a big trap that we fall into in our relationships, is that we get to this point where we think that we know all there is to know about our partner, and we lose that kind of curiosity. And what I want to say about that is that you can never know everything about your partner. You know, we as individuals, particularly if you're into your personal growth and development, we are constantly evolving, changing, developing, learning new things, shifting, you know. And I think that a major focus for the success of long-term relationship is to keep curiosity alive. And another thing that I provided for my coaching client this morning, who sparked this idea to deliver this message for you guys, I actually gave her a bunch of date night questions that I think are just really, I know they sound kind of cheesy, but they're really, really useful, particularly for long-term relationship, because you ask, you come with a sense of curiosity and fascination about this person who you can easily fall into the trap of thinking you know everything about, which you don't, by the way. They probably don't know a lot about themselves, let alone you knowing everything about them. And so you have to come with a mindset of curiosity and fascination, really fascinate over the person that you're in relationship with. There's always something funny to learn. And through questions, through either develop your own quality questions, or if you guys want access to something that I created a long time ago, then I'd be happy to send it to you. So let me know, just shoot me a message and I'll pop it over to you guys. But these questions really help to just spark those questions that you've probably never asked each other ever, and you learn so much, and all of a sudden you get that fascination, that curiosity, that discovery that you had in the beginning. So you've got to, long-term relationship is about being intentional. You've got to get intentional about recreating everything that you've done in the beginning that created that attraction. And I love what Tony Robbins says about this, which is, if you do what you did in the beginning, there won't be an end. And it's so, so true. So work out, what were you doing in the morning? You were asking lots of questions. You were learning about them. You were focused and present with them. You wanted to discover everything about them. And that doesn't have to stop. So stop assuming that you know everything about this person and start discovering through questions, through a curious mind. And what else have you said there? Yeah, and also, part of the beauty of long-term relationship is developing that familiarity as well. We want to have that curiosity and that mystery, but we also, there is so much. What's the book? I've forgotten the book's name. There's a book that I read not too long ago, which spoke into, I think, Gottman. What's his name? John Gottman. I think it was one of his books. But he spoke into the studies between, and actually I've done a Facebook Live on this topic, which was attachment theory, and actually how beneficial it is to have that sense of security in your intimate relationship, so that you can really open up to being all of who you are with that person. And often, people think, oh, I've got to keep the mystery alive, got to keep that distance, got to keep them on their toes. But oftentimes that's actually counterproductive to creating a real openness to feel comfortable enough to express all of who you are, the full spectrum from light to dark, from angel to animal, all of that. So it's really, really important to have that in your mind as well, that familiarity, God, I can't spit that word out today, but that is so, it can be so beautiful in long-term relationship to create something super deep and super attractive in your relationships. And also keeping that curiosity. You need both. So I love that you brought that up, Hassani. I hope that my comments there were of use and that was helpful. Let me know. And Ray, oh my gosh, Ray, hey. I don't know if I said your name right, but thank you for being here. I love it that you're here. And Ko and Joy and Ali, thank you. Oh, you're so, so welcome. And Kyle, thanks for being here. And Joy, definitely. And Lucy, thanks for being here. And Eric, it's always a pleasure, Vanessa. You give me courage somehow to be a better version of myself. Oh, I'm so grateful for your kind words there, Eric, and so grateful that you're finding value in these messages. That totally warms my heart, and it's the reason why I do what I do. So thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that so much. And Kaden, I'd love the list of questions. Awesome. And yeah, thanks for reaching out and saying thanks to Hassani too. I really love, guys, when I see you interact with one another. It just like, it juices me. It touches my heart. So thank you. And yes, Kaden, I will shoot that over to you. And Katie, thanks for being here. And Jeremy's joined. I love it. And Hassani, love that. That's so true. We are all constantly evolving. I know I'm different from 1 to 2 years ago. And yes, I'll strive to keep discovering more and more. Thank you for the perspectives you share. Oh, you're so welcome, Hassani. I love that this has triggered you to, really get more curious and shift that mindset to, everything to, hey, there's probably a lot to discover if I just get curious. So I love that, Hassani. Thank you so much. And Ila, long-term relationship is about compromise and living in the moment. It is a commitment to diversify your day, week, month. Yes, okay. I love you sharing your perspective here. Something that that's never really gelled with me is that word compromise in relationship, but that's a whole nother topic of conversation. If you guys want me to talk into that, let me know, and I will definitely shoot a Facebook Live around that, but too long to shoot off right now. And Evan is here. Thank you for being here. You're so welcome. David, thank you for your kind words. And Tahir, thanks for joining. And George from El Paso, awesome. I'm so grateful that you're having a motivated day. Thank you for letting me know. And awesome, guys, that really was my message for you guys. So if you have any last questions, comments, feedback, or any of it, then definitely let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. But yeah, really just wanted to share with you how the loss of attraction sparks those 4 R's of resistance, entering into resentment, entering into rejection, and finally repression. And when we identify and we can put language to the patterns, that is when we can have the opportunity to break through and create something truly extraordinary in our relationships, rather than just give up because we think it's too hard, it's too painful, we're too confused, and we don't know what's going wrong. So I love that. And last little hi, thanks for joining me, Jean and Dr. Angel. Hope you guys catch the recording and get a ton of value from today's message. And yes, okay, Hassani, I will talk about compromise on an upcoming Facebook Live today. I hate that word. Hate it. So particularly in our relationships. No. So yeah, I'll definitely talk into that. And Jagadish, thank you for joining me. I'm just about to sign off. So hope you catch the recording and get a ton of value from today's message. I am sending you guys all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything beautiful coming to you, to wherever you are in the world today. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So much love. I hope you're having an amazing day or night wherever you are.